Hello everyone, Sean here once again. I've got a bonus video today. Things look slightly different on this puzzle because this is not in fact Wordle. This is a puzzle called Absurdle. Thank you to Leslie Harris who brought this up and brought my attention to it. It looks like a lot of fun, so I just wanted to take a moment to play around with this and see how it goes. This puzzle has been called Wordle's Evil Twin. It functions very similarly to Wordle, except that the puzzle itself tries to avoid being solved. So it'll actually change its answer throughout the puzzle. It has to abide by the previous rules, so there will end up being an answer that will make sense with the previous guesses. It's not just going to switch around on you, making your previous assumptions wrong. But it's going to try and make this as hard as possible to be guessed. So basically boils down to whatever the last word that you would have guessed was along your line of thinking. That's what Absurdle is trying to do. This puzzle can be found at quantumqntm.org /files/Wordle if you want to try it out for yourself. I have not played this game yet, so you're seeing my first crack at it here. I'm going to include the link to this as well as the link to the regular daily Wordle puzzles in the description below. As always, if you like this content, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot in the end. But now let's take a look at this. So first, because we don't fully understand how this works, I want to take a look at what their description is here of how this works. So an adversarial variant of the charming and currently viral word game Wordle. It looks like what's happening here. So every time that you guess a word in Wordle, you're basically dividing the dictionary of potential words. And this is actually news to me here, is that we have 2,300 words that can be answers to a Wordle puzzle, but you can guess from the list of 10,000 words, some of which are going to be a little more obscure. So things like, if you've seen the video where I roll randomly, the Fuffy was probably not going to end up being an answer, but you can use it as a guess. I would definitely like to get my hands on those dictionaries. I'll take a look and see if I can find those later, because if so, I will probably redo my algorithm and test out what is the actual best word to use for Wordle itself versus, I believe my dictionary, when I boiled it down to all 5-letter words, was about 19,000 words in the end, almost 20,000. I think it was 19,700 or something like that. So yeah, what happens when you guess a word in Wordle is you're basically dividing the dictionary of remaining possibilities up into a number of categories, each category corresponding to one of these potential answers. So there's only one answer that can give you all green. Obviously, that is the guess that you just had, but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of answers that can give you some of these other combinations. Obviously, the more the ones with the less greens and yellows would probably be a lot more information given your first guess, would leave the largest category. So what Absurdle is doing here is, as it's being played, say for example you get this back and there are 136 words left, or you get this back and you get 256 words left, Absurdle is going to change its answer to be in this category here, amongst humph, focal, and cluck, and try and avoid being guessed. But it will still abide by all previous information that it gave you back. So for example, if you did get, say, an A falls somewhere else in the puzzle, the final answer will have an A. It's not going to dodge you entirely and change it to something that does not have an A in the end. So this looks like a lot of fun. This looks like basically you're trying to make guesses that is going to boil this down into one. So it's very similar, I guess, a similar base to Wordle, but it undoubtedly is going to force you into more guesses in the long run. And I'm just curious. Like I said, I haven't played this yet. I want to jump into this and test it out. And it looks like it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So you're going to get my raw, unscripted reaction here. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. Let's go ahead and guess our friend Aegis. And I have a sneaking suspicion that none of these letters are going to appear in the final puzzle. That's right. Okay, so there's no animation on this, so I don't have to wait for that to come through. So it looks like this puzzle is going to... Aegis divides up into a lot of categories, but the largest category are the words that don't include any of those 5 letters. Now, I don't necessarily want to jump in and go with something like Yorn or Youth right now, because it's going to... Actually, you know, I'm curious. I say that, but I think I'm going to take that back. I'm curious if I do something like Yorn. I believe what's going to happen here is it's the category of words that include multiple vowels is probably going to be eliminated. I'm guessing it's going to end up with the O, because there's not many words that just include Y, something like slyly or myths. I think that we're not going to end up getting that Y. So I'm going to test out Yorn just to see what happens. I'm mostly just curious. Oh, it is going to have a Y. It's going to have a Y and an O. So I guess that's the largest grouping of categories that of words that don't have an A, E, and I are going to have an O and a Y. That's actually really interesting. And then that might play into our Wordle guessing later on. If we know that it doesn't have an A, E, and an I, O and Y is more common than 2 O's or an O and a U, for example, is what this puzzle is telling us, at least out of the answers that are currently provided. So it's going to have an O and a Y. The current answer does, and that the answer that it currently is programmed to might change. However, it will still abide by this. It'll still have an O and a Y. So I'm going to see what else can this be. O and a Y. It might have more than one O, actually. I'm gonna see if I can maybe try and because my guesses are forcing Absurdle to avoid my thing. So I think by doing this, I'm going to avoid having 2 O's in there. Yes, I am, and I don't know if that was previously possible. But look how much information we have. This is pretty awesome. Now, it's fully possible that Kooky was the previous answer, but now it's changed, which is fun. What else can this be? Dottie? I think we're running pretty quickly into the corner here. Okay, so it could have been that, apparently. I'm quickly going to run out of consonants that we can do here. This is really going to test my vocabulary. Let's see. What else? What other words can we make here? Because it's not necessarily, I guess we can use the tactics of trying to extract the consonants without really paying attention to the structure here. So what is left here? It's got to use either the M or the L or the B. I'm pretty sure that you're not going to be able to force a word. Maybe hoppy, referring to beer, might be an answer here. I'm not really seeing a lot of options. I'm going to go with chomp, and I'll bet that we're sort of forcing one of these letters by now. I'll bet that H, M, or P is going to show up. It does not. Lobby? What is left? I don't think jolly, folly. I'm pretty sure this has got to have an L by now. How quickly can we get this? If I go jolly, it's going to change it to something like folly. So it's going to try and avoid me, but I'm wondering if we're low enough on possible answers. No, it's going to avoid the F and the L altogether. Is it gonna have the Z in there? Obviously, all of my guesses, or I suppose not all of them, but my more recent guesses are including doubles there, because I really don't see a whole lot of options here. I haven't done the B yet. I'm not seeing any combos that you can have that are going to use multiple consonants in between the O and the Y, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think it's going to be double B or double Z there. I'm not seeing a lot of words here. Is jobby a word? No, it's not. It's not letting me guess that. At this point, I'm just trying to figure out what words remain, because I'm not familiar with whatever this is. This is this can have another Y, can't it? I'm being a little silly here. I'm gonna figure out if this does have a second Y. It does not. Jeez. This is I really like this, actually. This is quite fun. I may have backed myself into a corner here where I don't really understand. Is it Bobby? Is it? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, triple letter. I haven't come across a triple letter yet, except for when I was forced to guess Fuffy. So Bobby, I guess to most audiences will just appear as a name, but I guess bobby pin allows that. Plus, if you use English slang talking about a police officer, that is a bobby as well, I believe. I'm not super keen on my English slang. So that's a really fun puzzle. I really like that. We can just do a new one, right? Yes, we can just do a new one and create this indefinitely. So what happens if we start with Yorn? Of course, we're going to end up with absolutely nothing, because that is the largest category. So now if we go back, you know what? Let's go. I've seen this being used a lot lately. Ado. Ooh. So by guessing Yorn, we forced our final answer to have E and an A. And I do have to be careful once again, because we can have a double E, which might be... we can't do that. Yeah, I guess that is a good guess. I was going to say please with a E on the end, but please like that is actually... useful. Our final answer is going to have E, A, and S. That is absolutely crazy. So what happened here is that when we guess ages first, our category was forced into all of the words that sort of use non-traditional letters, or I guess non-traditional, but not common letters. So B, Y, and O are not as common. But when we flipped it around and started with a Yorn, it ends up that the bucket that includes S, E, and A is such a large grouping that we're forced into that, which at times, as I've said on some of my other videos, can be harder. Like if you know the last four letters, for example, are E, A, S, and T, East. It can actually be really difficult to narrow it down when you're on those final guesses if you have something like yeast or beast or or I guess that was not the best example. But now we've been forced into this category where we have these E, S, and A, and there's so many options here that it is hard to narrow it down from there. So I think the best thing we can do if we want to try and get this early is is to try and start to force those into particular positions. Because remember, we're not trying to figure out where they go. We're trying to change the puzzle to force where they go. So if we end up here, let's see. You know what? I'm going to guess my name. Sean Plays. Yes. So now we've ended up with that A there. I think we've forced this into... I wish I could just, for the purposes of this, put a dash or a period in the next spot, but I'm going to put an X. So now we have probably S blank A blank E was my guess. Something like shape or shake, shame, skate. There's, like I said, there's a lot of options here, and I think the largest category is going to have an H in it. H or a T. So I think if we do thank, we can cover a lot of those. We did force a T now. That's great, but it's not going to be in that position. So what can come after that S? It's got to be the T at this point. I'm not seeing anything else that can go after the S, but that's not a T. So I'm really guessing that second one has got to be a T by this point. So I guess we haven't ruled out doubles. I'm not seeing a lot of options for doubles still. Stage. I wonder if we've actually forced stage by now. Almost. Stave. It's still running from us. So I guess there was two options remaining, stage and stave. And because we've guessed stage, it's now run away from us to stave. Whatever this final word is. I'm not actually familiar with the word now. Stabe. I'm sorry, that was not what I meant to guess. That's not a word. That's not a word. It's run away to something that I'm not familiar with. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Why did I not see that? I've mentioned doubles so many times during this. So after we guessed stage, stave, and stain, we forced it to be state. And we got it in 10 guesses. That is so much fun. I think that's awesome. It is. It certainly is a little bit frustrating, but so much fun, and really does start to test your Wordle ability. I think this is a nice practice to get back into Wordle, and if you do this enough to really understand how the categories work. It's very important in Wordle because you are trying to narrow down which category your answer lies in. Remember, those categories are forced every time that you guess a word. There's potential for 3 to the 5th. So 3, 9, 27, 81, 243. That's right. There's each time you guess a word, there's 243 potential outcomes. So you're dividing the dictionary potentially into 243 different categories. And that's sort of the underlying function of this game. So keeping in mind that you're not always trying to, these last 4 guesses here are definitely going against my core Wordle abilities. Or recommendations, I guess. And that's just because I didn't really know the existence of stain, and I was an idiot and I forgot about the T. One of the best guesses I could have done after thank there was the word given. That way it would have forced the puzzle away from the V, the N, and the G, and forced it to be that double T. That's so much fun. I think that's awesome. I really like this puzzle, and I think it is, if you start to understand how Absurdle works, I think that it makes you a better Wordle player. So much fun. I love it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. This was a really interesting break from the norm. Maybe I'll jump over here and play some Absurdle every once in a while. Comment down below if you like that idea. If you want me to play some Absurdle every once in a while. Remember to like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel significantly. And as always, share the video with anyone you think would enjoy some daily word puzzles or to be absolutely perplexed by Absurdle. I suppose one thing I didn't mention here, I'm not sure if there's a cap on the number of guesses. I can probably take a look at the rules, or someone can comment down below. That's all for now. We will see you all tomorrow.